So we talked about fintech before, but another portion of that is the role of the internet has played on our industry, especially in the finance. I'm sure when Al Gore invented the internet back in the what was 80s or 90s, right? That I don't know that he even thought about how it would affect the mortgage industry, but it certainly does. So, Bill, kind of tell us a little bit about how it's affected you and how you use the internet.
It's like, now you can go online and you have a sore on your arm, and all of a sudden it's some kind of, medical, you find something, well, what color is it? You figure it out. So everybody's an expert. Everybody becomes the expert at the mortgage. And there's so much information out there to decipher, but it's like, because it's like information overload, sometimes it can get extremely confusing to try and then trying to understand who to trust, what to trust. Are they telling the right thing? Is it not the right information that's being put out there? So the internet, though, I think has done a great job. I mean, you can really look at where rates are trending and how they're going, but to dive in specifically to their own personal situation, getting, in my opinion, with some type of professional, particularly with that big of an investment, it's a professional needs to come into play. But the internet, I mean, there's so much out there that they can find now.
So I guess I'll throw out the warning is that there's companies out there, is it like Lone Tree or things like that, where they get out there and they say, when banks compete, you win type thing. And what the consumer doesn't always know is that when you fill out that information, what's really happening is
yeah, it's really, to me, it's frustrating because I've been doing this for over 30 years, and what ends up happening is companies will put a number on the internet and they'll say our rate is 2.25% APR, da, 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 da. And they don't have to adhere to that rate for a purchase until the person is actually in contract. So it's really just a advertised rate that likely is not anywhere near what the consumer is going to end up getting. So it's a little bit, it's a game, and it's just trying to educate the consumer, how to play that game,
right,
and understand the game and how to play it.
Yeah. But as a consumer, you also have to be careful who and how many people you reach out to, because sometimes you might reach out to one website and get 4, 8, 16, 20 loan officers calling you, loan originators calling you, and they may or may not have English as their first language, but where they can actually understand them. But yeah, you're going to get the hard sell versus, and you have no idea if it's someone who really knows what they're doing.
Yeah, it is it's just trying to do your research, and we work a lot off of referrals. And I would say the referrals from a real estate agent are really good because they've had to go through that whole thing. And that's where I think having the relationships with the realtors, so you can trust that person. Because trust is the real thing. And can I give one little story?
Yeah.
So we just went
Stories are good.
Yeah. We just had a client that we've been working with for months, and he was trying to decide to buy a home, and he couldn't decide. We kept going through, we watched our shows and all that stuff that we had. So he says, I'm going to buy. So he goes out and buys, and we send a pre-approval letter. We get the offer accepted. All of a sudden, he gets a call from an online lender because of what's called a trigger lead. And so the trigger lead gave them his number. They called, and all of a sudden, this lender on the other side of the phone said, hey, well, we can lower your rate by 0.5%. And the guy came to us and said, hey, I'm leaving you guys because this guy's got a 0.5% better rate than you. And we're like, time out. Let's slow down a little bit. Get us the LE, the loan estimate, and let's compare it. So come to find out, that lender was charging him 1.5 points to get a lower rate. Okay, we can do the same thing, but we don't think it's the right thing because rates are too high and you could probably refinance down below. Number two, they were lowering the rate so that they could qualify him because the lender was a mortgage broker and doesn't have the higher debt to income guidelines that a mortgage banker
would.
has.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was getting all this information, but it just made him like his mind was just going,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
who do I, ultimately we got the loan and just was able to come back and educate him in regards to what we could do and what he was actually getting with the other lender.
Yeah, yeah. Other than someone who's just
Yeah.
trying to crank
It was
out.
just a fish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just put another ring the bell in the office
It's
one
you
more
know,
time.
dog eat dog world for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So great, thanks.